There's been local and international condemnation over the killing of more than 50 people in Plateau State last week after gunmen stormed several villages in the Bokus local government area of the state. Many have described the attacks as an act of terrorism. In the same vein, former senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, highlighted the plight of the Fulani ethnic group in a video now circulating on social media. He stated that the activities of bandits have destroyed lives and tarnished the reputation of the Fulani people. He spoke to members of the Fulbi Educational Development Association, urging them to shun kidnapping and all forms of criminality. Let's take a look.
10 to 15 years of banditry has not produced one billionaire among the bandits. It has destroyed the life of Fulani. It has even destroyed the image and reputation of Fulani people. Because every Fulani that is seen now is being seen to be a bandit. There are Fulani doctors, there are Fulani lawyers, there are Fulani engineers, there are Fulani architects, there are Fulani professors all over Nigeria. But criminality of these bandits that are mostly Fulani has destroyed the name, the image, the reputation of every Fulani man. Don't take lightly your mission. Your mission is very important. It's important for the peace, for the unity, for the progress and security of Nigeria. You should go to every nook and cranny, meet your people, tell them that we don't want banditry in northern Nigeria. We don't want kidnapping in northern Nigeria. We don't want their activities that has been destroying our image, our reputation as the people in northern Nigeria.
All right, I thought that was such an important soundbite, Vimbai. Really on point, Shehu Sani there. I mean, what I took away was the fact that he's saying that, this whole banditry act, I mean, how much money has it really given you? Have you seen a billionaire bandit before? Then what are you doing this for? I loved that soundbite really to teach, the people in that area, whoever it is that is committing, those terrorist acts to stop. But also, I also loved the fact that he mentioned, the Fulani ethnic group being, tarnished or painted with that brush of, being bandits and, terrorists in the north. What do you make of that?
So, Oji, when you look at this issue, very complex issue, and you look at the Fulani people, it's impossible to give it the correct context without going back to the 19th century, without looking at the era of Usman Dan Fodio. And what now is creating a conflict for historians, because some are saying it's a debate against, was it revolution for empowerment or was it expansionism? And this has now trickled down into so much animosity that we now see today between ethnicities, and now what we see is criminality has now joined the WhatsApp group as well. The important point for me is the point that has been made, the position of the Plateau government, the Benue State government, to say that this is criminality. We are not calling them by any tribe or ethnicity. We are calling them terrorists. And I love that Shehu Sani is driving this point home, that as much as it's tempting for us to create these ethnic divisions and start to profile one another and start to, degenerate into a place of tribalism, the most important thing for us right now is to identify that there's criminality and there's terrorism, and to stem that, nip that in the bud. And this can only be done because of how, I mean, you look at just over 80 people slaughtered last week. Terrible. So you now realize that this is, and recurring over 20 years, this issue has happened in the same local government areas for 2 decades, to the point that they're now screaming ethnic cleansing. There's a lot of issues around it. So I love to see community leaders going into the community to try and get the conversation going that this is not the way to go. This is not how we can resolve our issues, because yes, there are issues. The issue of land is a pressing issue. We can't neglect that. Again, I go back to the Ministry of Livestock. What's going on with that issue? Because all of this, at the end of the day, goes back to the issue of herders and farmers. This is where the animosity has come in. So they are looking, there's climate change, there's so many factors. And now when you have sort of a lack of institutional oversight, lack of security, criminality is the next thing that happens. Extremism starts to seep in from other neighboring nations as well. So I'm glad to see the community leaders are taking ownership of this, going into the communities and driving this conversation.
Great submission, Vimbai. I love that. Rotus, it's hard to the idea of ethnic profiling as well.
I don't know. Him talking to youth leaders and saying, you go into your communities and go and talk to them. And I don't want a situation where you are thrusting the responsibility on the community leaders. Terrorism is terrorism, and the way you fight it is using law enforcement. We had SBM Intelligence on the Global Business Report. They had a report on this farmer herder crisis and the economic impact. And essentially, I understand the community part, but when Shehu Sani is saying, look, you need to go into your communities, you need to talk to your people, it's almost like he's thrusting responsibility on them. It's still a law enforcement issue that we use to address terrorism. But look, it's still, again, good effort on his part.
Dr.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
I think Comrade Shehu Sani should be commended.
Yes,
for his honesty, for speaking the truth to power, even if some of his own kinsmen may disagree with him. Because what he did simply in that interaction with those young persons is that he admitted that truly, in his view, many will disagree, that the people involved in banditry and terrorism are mostly from a particular ethnic stock. And he spelled it out. Fulanis.
Yes.
And he said, you are Fulani graduates, you are young men. There's something called mentoring.
Yes.
And he's in a position as a senior citizen to mentor these young persons, to say, you make a difference. The future that is in front of you as professionals, as trained persons, as graduates, is not banditry, it's not terrorism. It is for you to show that the Fulanis are very distinguished persons and there are distinguished professionals, and that banditry terrorism is not a label that you can put on the Fulani person. I think from the point of view of mentoring, he did a good job. The third point is that all the security chiefs we have had, they always talk about what they call the non-kinetic approach. They talk about the involvement, the collaborative approach. They said all of us should be involved in ensuring the security of Nigeria. This is Comrade Shehu Sani, or Senator Shehu Sani. He went to the Senate. He used to be comrade before he joined politics. This is him saying, look, you also have a role to play. The Nigerian government says we all have a role to play, and he says you too have a role to play. I've spoken to you, go to your community and also preach this message that we can make a difference and that Nigeria can only be productive and successful if we all work together to make this place secure. I think he was on point in terms of his message. You may disagree with him, but I think it takes a lot of courage, for him to come out like that and just say it as it is. And hopefully the gospel, according to Senator Shehu Sani, will be taken beyond that location where he was preaching to some young northerners.
Yes, and I hope that it resonates with a lot of leaders across all, the geopolitical zones. I mean, ethnic profiling should, be rejected at all costs in